Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. But it's Friday, so it's Khyber Shards Answers.
That's us. That's what we do.
It is, and we have Colin.
Oh, we
hey,
do.
buddy.
How we doing, brother?
So we just recorded a lot of Khyber Shards.
Wow.
And so this is probably going to be funny.
Yeah, because none of that's happened.
Yep. So rewind to
back when I played Pog. Yep.
This session.
Back when Pog was my character. Got it?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
The obvious reason that Colin is on is the big reveal of a couple episodes ago that Pog had to deal with, and we've got a question on that, so we'll hold off talking about that for a couple of seconds. But first, Emily asks, was it weird encountering Cadric as an NPC given that he was briefly your PC?
A little, but it probably would have been stranger if we hadn't discussed it the last time I was on the KSA. It was more that I found myself watching Cadric and going, oh, I wonder if there's any of me in there. Like as soon as he was introduced to the scene, going, I wonder how much Cadric is mine and Philip's now instead of just Philip's. So yeah, it was a little odd because like anytime Pip has been around, I've just become Pip, and my instinct was to become Cadric. But no, it was fun. It was fun getting to see how I'd influenced.
Definitely, yes. And then Mia asks the obvious question of the night, but the necessary question.
Yeah.
How much advance notice did you get about the sudden appearance of, spoiler alert, your father, Pog's father, if any at all?
I stand by how good that was. I would be truly stunned if my dad showed up. The advance notice I got was the moment that Philip said it. I will be honest. I didn't know Philip would ever touch on my father's side of things, because from episode 0, when we were building out our characters and I was talking to Philip about it, Dad was just such a non-factor because the backstory all had to do with the tragedy of Mom and how he had just left and hadn't been a participant in my existence. So I had no idea that Dad was ever going to be a factor in this campaign, much less in the middle of Pog just tagging along for political dialogue. Like I was so unprepared, so drastically unprepared. And so as a player, I was like, I don't know what to do with this, but especially right now. Like I was coasting just listening to Ari have this conversation, kind of getting caught up in like how cool this is. And then feel everything all at once. So yeah, I was given zero heads up at all. When did you decide that was going to happen?
I had gone back and forth a few times on whether or not it would be interesting to introduce Pog's father, and the idea that this was a good time to do it came when I had the idea for Durgan to come in during the conversation with Varen, because we haven't had a lot of opportunity for it, but I have wanted the fact that you are sort of pals with the son of an important figure in House Thrash to have the option to matter. Like I've wanted that to be something that can bear fruit if players decide to take it that direction. And it occurred to me that I wasn't sure if Durgan had ever actually even shown up in the narrative personally. And so I wanted to just bring him in And that kind of got me to thinking, what if it's not just their friend's father? What if we have this? And since Lady Omarin is connected to House Deneth in the books, and we had established that that was the house your father was from, and so the scene just sort of opened to me. Like I wanted a reminder of connections to the other houses to be present as the you guys went about the Stormlords, and so I wanted there to be some moment with Grieger showing up to talk to Lady Omarin, but not in a way that was going to derail you guys having the conversation. So I came up with that little scene, and it just felt like this was a good moment to do it for exactly the reasons you brought up, that Pog didn't have anything to do in this scene. Um, I knew that here was going to be another another potential female role model for Shade in Paolo Marin.
Yep.
And obviously Ari is taking the lead on talking, especially now that we don't have Esri going around with the party. And so I kind of wanted something to draw Pog into the scene a little more, but I was super nervous about doing this. I was like, man, this is normally the sort of thing that I would talk to a player about ahead of time, but it'll land so much better if I don't.
Yeah.
And so I really agonized about whether or not to ask you if it was okay to give you a heads up. And especially because we've talked about your dad a lot, and I know that's that's an important part of Colin's backstory.
It's in my lore. Yeah.
Right. And so I also didn't want it to feel like I was mining Colin's backstory to mess with you. And so I was extremely nervous to do it without telling you, but in the end I just knew the reaction would be so good
Valid.
if you weren't expecting it.
Yeah. I hope it was. I haven't watched, but oof, I felt it.
No, it's great. It's great.
It hit well. Yeah, I loved it. I think we've beaten the topic so much on my KSAs, but that's just the benefit of having the trust of our decades of friendship. Of that's the kind of thing that will hit. But I'm also at a place in life where I'm prepared to play with those kind of emotions. So yeah, I thought it was great. I was not ready. I still don't know what to do with it. And I'm so excited at that potential. I'm genuinely proud of the decisions made and how I handled that because of character and player confusion. So yeah, I don't, it was a strong moment for the story. It was good.
Well, and I like it because I hope you also don't mind that I named your father in the moment, because I literally forgot that I hadn't named him. until you told Ari to find out who that was, and I was like, oh, of course they need his name. So I hope you don't object to Armand.
I don't.
But I like this. It's interesting in a way that this kind of twist isn't usually. Not that this kind of twist can't be interesting, but it's interesting in a way that this isn't, because that usually isn't, because there's absolutely no logical way for Armand to know you when he sees you.
Right.
Like, your father being in town doesn't mean, oh my gosh, there's a member of the house who knows everything about me.
Right.
Because your dad was entirely absent for all of Pog's life, or most of Pog's life. And so that really enhanced the idea of it to me, because it puts the ball pretty much entirely in Pog's court. Like, we can assume that Armand probably knows that Pog manifested a mark, probably knows what became of Pog's mom, but would have absolutely no way to have a concept of what Pog looked like or where Pog was,
Right.
Without some sort of interference from the houses. And so it lets you and Pog really decide what happens next.
Which is why
I like that.
That's why I enjoyed having literally everything open to me about it. And I decided I need to know if I hate him for my mom for leaving her alone for this. Because if he didn't know about me, then I have no feelings of my own, because he's nothing to me, but I have to have some kind of closure and satisfaction on her behalf. But if he knew about me, like, you had another opportunity to step up and to rescue me from what should have been. And that's really complicated. And that's why I'm excited to play this through, and the couple different things I've already thought about, how this evolves. There's a lot of openness to it, which is really, really intimidating and exciting.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited to see where that goes, and to what degree we get that closure for Pog. Emily asks, much less heavily, how do you feel about Thranish / Texas Twinkies as a food?
It sounds amazing. I'm so there. I'm so there. I mean, you're talking to someone who has lived his entire life in the southern part of our country, so all of that sounds incredible. I mean, it's a cross between State Fair and Ren Fair, so let's go. I'm so down. I'm from a city that is famous for making churro and fried ice cream, so I'm down for any kind of nice little street snack like that. I'm all about it. Sounds wonderful.
Laura asks, what does Pog think of Shadari, which I assume is their ship name for...
Nope. No, it's not. Pog thinks nothing, because that's not a thing. That's not a thing. Shade and Ari being romantically involved maybe is what we're asking, because Shadari is not happening. I do not co-sign Shadari. No shot. There's a lot there, and I think Pog is going to be spending a lot of time talking with Solarka about it, because he's very close in an intimate but distant way with Shade. Some of his most profound moments have been shared with her. And not to beat the Fast and Furious thing here, but they very much are family. And so to redefine their relationship to each other inevitably will make him feel like his position has to be redefined. Yeah. That's not to say that's where it ends up, but it's absolutely alienating. It's an isolating kind of thing. And especially now that we have Ezri out of the dynamic, it is genuinely third wheeled. And neither one of them are going to play it for that. And I don't think that's where their relationship would go, however it evolves. But anyone who's been along with a couple knows how that feels at a certain point. No matter how welcome you are, you're still a different relationship than the one on display. So Pug thinks a lot about it. As for what, I think it's still too early to determine. It's only been 2 days.
Yeah.
As of today's session, it's only been 2 days.
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to be of effect. I'm just not sure of what yet. Good question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Minus the Shadari aspect.
They also ask, how do you think Pip would have done if he went on the quest for Cindy? Since he would have gotten to kill the bats, I'm assuming he would have loved at least one part.
I don't understand this at all. What have I done? How do I think he would have done? I think he would have done great until the end. Because I don't think that any kind of sneak around plan would work with Pip as a part of it. Although, to be fair, he could have just ran down, grabbed it, and bamfed out. So maybe even better. But I don't foresee a future where stealth is in Pip's wheelhouse. Yeah, I think he would have had a blast being along. I think he'd be a great addition to the Rebel Warren gang. I think he would just get on so well with them, and being so eager to belong, he would probably just grind out quests even harder than they currently are, trying to catch up to them to be a part of things. I think he would love being a part of that.
We have a couple questions from I'm Spartacus. Who do you hope the Echo is?
This question has haunted me.
Much like the Echo.
Yeah, much like since the Echo's first arrival. And I don't know. I don't know who I want it to be. There was a time that I wanted it to be Mom. Then that seemed too easy and too dark at the same time. And I go back and forth on that. There have been times that I want it to be unrelated to Pog, like an actual non-relative. And as he has been welcomed by the Silver Flame, that has kind of been an interesting idea. The spirit or spirits of fallen heroes and members of the church, almost like saints, because we've called in the Echo for different occasions, and there's never been, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's never been a defined moment that said the Echo is a entity. Like, it's more like an idea.
Correct.
So it could theoretically be like having a saint for the occasion, the guardian angel that's most applicable for the moment. I've put a lot of thought into what I think it is. And I don't know what I want it to be. It's a question that I have wanted to have an answer for that I just don't. That's part of the fun and the challenge of giving away that kind of control over your character. But the more I think about it, the more I'm satisfied that I gave that to you, because I do go back and forth on who I want it to be. And this isn't like having a deity or a pact, where I'm talking to the same person every time and building that relationship. It's interesting to have this slow revelation. And it really fits the narrative for me, playing the role of, as I become more capable, it becomes more involved. And that's been very natural to have this progression happen, with me being in the passenger seat for sure. So much of it. I don't have an answer. I don't know what I want it to be. I know what I want it to be yesterday and the day before that, but I don't know what I want it to be tomorrow. Everything that changes for Pog makes me go, oh, well, then the Echo is going to be this. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I got no idea. At what point did you decide? Was it early on that you knew the Echo's identity? Have you always known?
I didn't know the Echo's identity for sure early on. I had some different ideas. I have settled on what the echo is, um, but it wasn't immediately. It was a little ways
Interesting.
into the campaign.
Interesting.
um. Finally, oh wait, nope, I missed one.
Almost.
What is your Colin's favorite game where quest givers come with their own punctuation marks?
I'm currently grinding Diablo 4, so that's the easy answer because I flew through the campaign and I've only been doing nightmare dungeons, so my map is littered with blue exclamation points. But I think I said it in one of the earliest KSAs about my role-playing experience. I loved Cyberpunk 2077. I really loved that. I've played some wonderful RPGs, but that was the first time, the same way that Eric was when Mass Effect hit, and you with, I want to say, Dragon Age, these games that you want to return to. Like even when you're just in a break or working a shift at work, you're just like, I want to get back. That was Cyberpunk. I wanted to explore every inch of that world. I wanted to, as I made decisions in relationships with a character, I wanted to have another character at the same point so I could play it in a different way. I loved that world. I loved that story. That's going to be my answer. I just rebought it on the Steam sale so I can play it on PC on better settings that don't make my reflection look like a polygonal nightmare on Xbox.
Nice. Awesome. Finally, how does Pog begin to worry about how Selshadra got his measurements for the chairs?
No, not even a little bit. I think that I may have done my best job of clarifying my opinion of someone as Pog in the moment with Selshadra the best when he said, "You are very good." That's what she is capable of on scope, big and small, is beyond Pog. The little detail of having the custom fitted chairs there the first time that we went was genuinely impressive. Having another one immediately prepared for the next visit was disturbing. Because that is an attention to detail that no one else in Pog's life has. And that it's terrifying. It's really a scary thing to think about someone with that level of obsession and that level of ability, because she got that. We went back just a day later and there was another one. Like, where are they coming from? Do you own a furniture factory? Did you make 6 of them? How did you get them into the office knowing that we were there? No, not thinking about the measurements, thinking about this woman's knowledge is terrifying in scope. Because especially recently, we've had some second guessing about Thora, and it's almost inevitable that you realize at a certain point having knowledge means you cannot be good. When you have a certain amount of knowledge, the lines have been crossed. You're not a good guy. And this is a small example of how giant the scope of her knowledge is. So no, he's going to try not to think about Selshadra as much as possible. Just stay on her good side. Not gonna, because my initial thought was I was going to ask for another chair. When the second one was there. And then I sat quietly as a participant listening. And the more I thought about, like, how did she get another chair already? What is this? I don't know if you're ever going to answer where the chairs come from, but it's kind of scary. High key, kind of scary.
Our last question, also from I'm Sardicus. Why is it so fun to mess with Philip?
It's the privilege that comes with decades of close friendship. When you know someone's buttons so thoroughly, it's almost impossible to just not push them every so often.
Right.
And also, I think it's the fact that Eric and I really enjoy that after 20 years of friendship, we can still surprise each other, the three of us. And so it's almost a game to try to catch you off guard and make the kind of joke or situation that you wouldn't expect from me. Which is why I loved the Rubble Warren gang so much, because I got to be a kind of silly that I don't know if you've seen from me before in life. And why, as Pog, I get to try to surprise you with naivete and these moments of still being able to surprise someone who knows you inside and out for so long. Like, there's been no part of my life that Philip hasn't known about for 20 years now. And so to still be able to surprise him is that's how we keep friendship spicy, by messing with each other and pushing buttons.
Awesome. Well, that is all of our questions for this episode. If you'd like to submit questions, you can do so over on our Discord. You can find that link along with all of our other socials in the description down below, as well as a link to Colin's Twitch, where he is sorry, BTR. The O is a 0. New episodes of Khyber Shards drop every Monday, and new Khyber Shards answers every Friday. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.